Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Analyst here, and I hope all of you guys are having a good morning, evening, wherever you guys are from, and welcome back to another Ethereum Technical Analysis. And Ethereum has absolutely been carrying the market as of recently. It is up nearly 50% since the start of this run, up a total of $50. So when it started this run around $100, it has gone all the way up to around $150 now, and now that it's starting to hit resistance, the question is asked, where will it go from here? Is it able to break resistance? Is it going to collapse back down in on itself? Where are we looking at for retracements if it does, and where are we looking at targets if it goes towards the upside? So today we're going to be doing a full-on technical analysis of Ethereum, explaining where I believe it's going to go from here. So if you guys are interested, go and stick around for the video, and do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, as it does help out the channel a lot. But that being said, let's go ahead and dive on into this, because as I said, Ethereum has absolutely been carrying the crypto market with really just putting Bitcoin on its back and carrying it with it. Now this is something that we don't always see, but when it does happen, it's usually in runs like this. So if you guys don't know, the Ethereum network is getting upgraded. I believe it's called like the Constantinople or the Byzantine or something like that. It was thought to have been a fork, but it's actually supposed to be an upgrade. There's some miscommunication over there on that, but with that coming out, people are speculating that this is the cause of this drastic price increase in Ethereum. But personally, I think that that might have something to do with it, but I don't think it has everything to do with it. I don't think that that one upgrade is causing the entirety of this run. I think it's a lot of TA of what's been happening over here with price movement, along with people FOMOing and just getting tired of the price sitting this low and kind of FOMOing back into the market as they're seeing it increase again, and as they're seeing all of these fundamentals increase with the use case of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in their entirety. So moving on over here, actually getting into the TA with Ethereum running up over here. Again, great breakout, went right above the 200 EMA on a 4-hour and the 50. You have a golden cross happen, and then this thing just takes off to another level. So as soon as this happens, again, breakout over the 50, over the 200, resting, using it as support. This is called a break and hook, and then the go happens. And as soon as the go happens, you see the 50 cross over the 200. Golden cross on your 4-hour. This is something that I talked about in Discord, and as soon as this happened, this thing really took off to another level. We talked about how this was an ascending triangle as well. That broke and broke towards the upside, and this kept on going. It broke another form of resistance over here in this area at around $135, broke previous candle body tops. However, in the grand scheme of things, this still is forming a lower low because the higher high was around $161 and we only reached up to around $150. So if Ethereum can push another $11, $12 up and break this higher high, I think that's when things can really start becoming this great bullish scenario for Ethereum, because of the fact that it will have broken a major overbearing resistance as well as broken the trend of getting consistent lower highs. So this is really what I'm looking at, and when I'm zooming this in even more so, of course we can kind of start seeing at least a form of a pennant start to happen. Now, if this does form a pennant up in this range, technically this would be considered a bull flag. So that's another thing that I'm watching out for in this range, is that if a pennant forms, then it's very well that a bull flag would be the case for this, and it would actually be more likely to break towards the upside than the downside. However, we're going to have to watch this closely. It is not a confirmed bull flag yet. We got to have some sort of consistent support in here, and we do not have really a defined support or resistance line, as those do require at least 3 touches on both to be confirmed. So when I'm looking at this, again, keeping an eye in case this does form a bull flag or a pennant on top over here, looking to trade this area and probably just make any kind of scalps that I can. You know, any trade updates that I make, they'll be posted in Patreon, any things that I take. When I'm looking over here at the MACD of Ethereum and the RSI and the stochastic, they're really showing me a couple of things as well. One, again, buying pressure is great. Your oscillators are just being absolutely phenomenal, to be quite honest. They're like just literally mooning, and with your MACD forming higher highs on your MACD time scale, it's pretty significant as well, saying, okay, you guys are having great levels of positive momentum in this area. Upon each swing high, you're having higher levels of positive momentum. This is again just a great case for Ethereum. It's really showing how strong this is and how it's leading the run over here. However, with this starting to slow down, so to say, I mean, we'll have to really wait to see whether or not this forms a higher high on your MACD once again. That's really going to be the turning point for me, because if you can't form another higher high on your MACD, this is where things are going to start becoming a little bit more bearish. And if you start forming lower highs, what this does is it sets it starts setting up double, triple, maybe even quadruple bearish divergence on your MACD. Moving into your RSI, it's really looking like a lot of the same thing as your MACD. I'm seeing higher highs on this RSI chart, much like I'm seeing on the MACD. So for both of these, what I'm looking out for is for lower highs to start forming upon swing. So if this swings back up and it's a lower high and we do something that kind of looks a little bit like this, so maybe let's just say that this thing swings back up, we can go get our drawing tool, and then this swings back up, forms a lower swing high over here, and then gets rejected. Again, that's where I'm looking to short this, because of the fact that a lower swing high is double bearish divergence on your RSI, and that's nothing to take lightly. Again, if this were to swing back low again and then swing back up and form another lower high, triple bearish divergence, and get rejected, I would probably short that as well. Again, whenever I'm seeing double and triple bearish divergence on RSI and MACD, especially on things like the RSI, that's when I'm taking these opportunities to short or long this based upon whether it is lower highs or higher lows. Now, in this area, I am looking to short because of the fact that your candle chart over here is telling me that you're seeing constant rejection over here on Ethereum. And when I'm looking at this, you have a pretty well established trend line that has just been getting, again, rejected one time after another. So here you go, you see your first rejection upon a swing high, your second rejection upon a swing high, and now that you're getting up in this area, you're seeing your third swing high of rejection of this same trend line. So when I'm looking at this as a solidified line of resistance, if this gets rejected here, this would be a solidified and I guess, yeah, just a solidified point of resistance. So when I'm looking at this area, this is again the greatest area of opportunity for me to short this because of the fact that I can keep a stop loss so tight, and my risk versus reward ratio in this area is so great. So if we go ahead and draw this up, what I can actually do over here is kind of measure this guy. So this is essentially what I'm going to do. So this is going to be my risk to reward short zone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this up. The red box is going to be my buy. Anything over the red is going to be my stop loss. The green is going to be my target zones of where I can sell. Again, if I was looking to sell this, it would be somewhere again along this trend line. I guess technically it would be buy because this is a short order, but again, you guys get the point. So if I'm looking to enter this, anywhere in the red is going to be my enter zone for this short. I can even make this a little bit smaller. Yeah, so I can even make this a little bit smaller. So what this would do is it would leave a 3.86% stop loss. This would be a potential of 21% gain, and my risk versus reward ratio here is a 5.4. So for me, that's totally worth it. I'm willing to take this trade. Again, pretty solidified resistance, and I would say that the risk versus reward ratio in this region is actually even smaller than that. This is a pretty large entry box. Generally, it would be pretty smaller for me, and in this area, it actually is smaller based upon where I entered my shorts. So when I'm looking at this, we can look at one more thing, and that's the stochastics on the 4-hour. Again, this thing pointing down, it was extremely overbought. Now with this thing coming down again, I expect it to, again, keep heading downwards. Maybe it sees some ups and downs and some little bumps in the road in between then, but I do expect this thing to start heading back downwards. Something I noticed over here on the 4-hour again was a lower high over here. Now this was not a swing high, this was just a lower high, and there's a difference in between those. So with this just forming a lower high upon the same rally, that was still telling me that with this being so overbought and forming a lower high, this is the area where I was comfortable shorting at. And so I did enter a short, and Patreons were made known of that. If you guys want to become a Patreon, link to that is in the description below. But the overall sentiment here for Ethereum is actually going to be a bearish one for me. The trend is still your friend, and when I'm looking at this, this is not really anything new. You're still keeping the same overbearing trend line. Sure, you did break one trend line, but again, you still have the overbearing one over here being a broadening wedge. Now, a broadening wedge, this is actually something that Soy Sauce pointed out in the Discord. He's a great guy in there, always active and talking. But when he pointed this out to me, I actually noticed, because he had the resistance line, I said, hey, draw your support line, and you have yourself in a descending broadening wedge. Now, this in itself is a bullish formation and continuation pattern. A descending broadening wedge technically would break out towards the upside if it respects the technical analysis. So when I'm looking at this, even though you're seeing rejection here, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because of the fact that overall this is a bullish pattern on Bitcoin. When you see this stuff, it's not necessarily bad. The good news is that it can never touch the bottom of this descending wedge again, or of this descending broadening wedge again, because of the fact that it would essentially have to go into the negatives to do that, and we all know that's not possible. So what's more than likely to happen here is that it goes up on this support line, touches this support line or one of your EMAs again, or it just breaks out. Again, it is possible for it to just break out in this zone. But zooming in, you can see that there's quite clear rejection over here upon all of these candles. This is a heavy load of resistance, and it makes sense. You have the trend line. In addition to that trend line, if you draw this up, you can see over here to the left, there is significant resistance in this area. So where these candle tops are forming is where all of this candle body over here starts beginning. So again, so you can kind of see this. It's very obvious why this is a resistance area. Not only do you have your resistance line, but you also have all of this working as horizontal consolidation resistance, which is something I am talking about in the technical analysis course. So that's going to pretty much sum it up for Ethereum, guys. Nothing new here. I'm seeing rejection. It's easy to keep a type stop loss on this, which is why I'm entering a short. To me, again, the risk versus reward is worth it, and thus I am entering still lower highs on Ethereum, and until it breaks that, I am not bullish. So I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys did, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, as it does help out the channel a lot. But until next time, guys, I will see you in the next video.